Future by Rated Pony Star, read by Deathlight, Chapter 3. It was getting dark by the time we exited the art gallery. After helping Rebecca close down for the holidays, the two of us walked down the street to head to our favorite place to talk whenever we met up again, Donut Joe's. The donut place that Twilight and I hung out at during our early days was still open and ran by the original Donut Joe's family line. Still in the same place, still looked the same, even after hundreds of years. And still, the same great tasting donuts and coffee. Some families still follow tradition and all. We took the far less crowded route to avoid any tourists that wanted to take a photo of me. After all, I was one of only two living survivors of the war around, and the last dragon of Equestria. The old me would have admired the fame, like how I was worshipped after I helped defeat King Sombra for the Crystal Empire. Now that I'm older, I can tell you that fame is a curse. Having to fight off paparazzi, historians, students who wanted to interview me for their assignments, producers wanted me to guest in their shows, and those who just wanted a picture with a living dragon. It was a constant nightmare, to the point where I almost bought a stealth field generator on the black market just so I could have some privacy. It was hard to make friends who liked me for me and not for my fame, but those that did, I always treasured. Rebecca and I made small talk on our way to Donut Joe's, mostly about what we had done since our last meeting a few months ago. Sure, we kept in chat through email and voice chat, but it felt good to be right beside her as well as hear her voice as she went on about her family and career. I let her do the talking, mostly because I was always a better listener than talker, but I would occasionally give updates on my students in Discord. She only got to see him twice since he was put into hospice, but she cared deeply for him as I did. We both made a mental note to see him together this Christmas. At last, we reach our destination and enter, with a little bell jingle signaling our arrival. The owner spotted us and gave us our usual seats and set aside our favorite order of donuts and coffee. I blew a light flame on mine to give it that extra kick before drinking it. Looking around, I saw that there weren't many customers, which was fine by me. Having the place to ourselves made it feel like our own special zone. Just the two of us, alone. The thought of it made me blush as Rebecca bit into a sprinkled chocolate glazed donut before she smirked at me. So, I never asked before, and it has me curious. What was Heartwarming Eve like before Equestria moved to Earth? I smiled as old memories of joyful times came to my head. It was magical. Snow falling down all over the cities and towns, even the southern ones like Appaloosa had it. Decorations put up that made the entire town look like a giant decorated wonderland with the smell of warm cookies and fresh cocoa filled the air. Fools running around just as the 6 heroes who saved ponykind and reacting to the tales of how Equestria was made. Or at least the children's version, since the true history was a lot grimmer and not all 6 survived. Everyone going to the temple to pray to Celestia and Luna for thanks and blessings before going home to a feast. Presents being wrapped and opened at lightning speed. Songs sung over a fire, everyone playing games and telling stories of the past. It was a lot like Christmas, but less materialistic for one thing. It's not that bad. Rebecca chuckled as she raised an eyebrow. Last week, I saw 2 fat ladies and a giant-sized unicorn in a 3-way wrestling match for a single video game. Okay, so it's materialistic, but we still have the same charm, replied Rebecca with a teasing laugh. Well, you're a lot more religious in your holiday, with it being the birth of Jesus and all. I pointed out, while Equestria did have a few religions, it wasn't as organized as the human ones. The most popular form of worship was the Celestia and Luna as goddesses due to their ability to raise the sun and moon. Some even worshipped Cadence and Twilight when they became alicorns, which annoyed the pair of atheists to no end. Twilight, when she was little, once asked Celestia if she was a goddess, and Celestia answered she wasn't. But was already being worshipped as one if it meant unifying her ponies even closer. Sometimes I wonder if being glorified made her so overconfident in her future decisions, or was she like that before it? Needless to say, no pony worships alicorns anymore. Kinda hard to do so when they're dead. Do you miss it? Asked Rebecca, sipping her coffee. I can imagine you do. I do. I replied with a sigh. The last real heartwarming eve we had was a few months before the war started. It was just a private one with Twilight, her friends, our family, and the princesses. I can even remember Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie tricking me and Flurry under a mistletoe before she gave me a big kiss on the cheek. Someone was quite a stubborn when he was a teenager. Rebecca teased, grinning, which made me blush. Not that I blame her, you're quite handsome. My eyes lit up and I felt my blush returning. Rubbing the back of my head, I stuttered. Thanks. I cleared my throat. What was Christmas like for you? Not as exciting as yours was, she admitted with a shrug. My family gets together, goes to mass, one giant Christmas party. Pretty much was the only time I got to see my cousins since my folks were always moving due to their jobs. They're in London for Christmas this year. They offered for me to go with them. She then put her hand on my claw, but I didn't want to leave one of my best friends alone this year. I gently grabbed her hand as I stared at it. Skin and scales together as one. I raised my eyes to her kind smile. I felt my heart beating faster than any battle I was ever in. I thought about all the times I felt a sense of love before, but never have I felt it like this. It was still something I didn't know too much about. The one mare I ever loved was Rarity, but she married a rogue guard by the name Blue Shield. I was jealous at first, but she seemed so happy. She never worn such a genuine, loving smile before the months she spent carrying his folded term. In the end, I let it go. Then he died in the war. Her baby was a stillborn. In a single year, she had lost both her husband and her foal. Combined with the stress of the war, Rarity became emotionally distant to everybody except her sister for a time. I went to her one night, asking if there was anything I could do to help her. That night was the night I got my first kiss from her, and the night I lost my virginity. The next morning was the most awkward feeling I ever had. All my life I wanted this from Rarity, but now that I had it, it felt wrong. Like I was just used. Rarity apologized and we never spoke about it again. Nor did I feel any romantic feelings for her again. Yet, here I was, staring at this one human woman who was giving me that same old spark in my heart. It was so different that I couldn't help but be afraid. Every scenario was running through my head, and they all ended in heartbreak one way or another. If our relationship did push the next level, I could not give her children, and she would die one day before I do. I would be alone again. I slowly separate my claw from her hand and look away. She must have sensed something was wrong as she asked, "Is everything okay?" I didn't know what to say. I wanted to tell her how I felt. But I also wanted her to know that nothing could happen between us that would end in a happy ending. That it's better to just accept us being friends and not let this, whatever it was, built between us continue. Before I can answer, my Omni phone started beeping, and I lifted my arm to see a human nurse look at me from the view screen with worry. "Mr. Spike Sparkle?" "Yes?" "My name is Nurse Olive. It's Discord. He doesn't have much time." My blood turned cold. "What?" "Sir, he's not gonna last the night. He wants to see you before he goes."